So, what does the future of hyper-personalized healthcare actually look like? Today, we're going to dive deep into one real-world, high-tech plan that uses AI and some incredible clinical insight to reverse a health crisis, a crisis that could honestly be happening inside any one of us. It's a pretty interesting question, right? Because on the outside, a person can look totally fine, completely healthy. But deep down, inside their own biology, a very, very different story could be unfolding, completely hidden from view. So let's meet our case study. We'll call him Cherry Garcia. He's 41, lives a pretty high-stress life, and his advanced diagnostic report just came back with a D+. The report doesn't pull any punches either. It says he's at a critical inflection point that needs immediate, decisive action.
Okay, so how does a 41-year-old guy end up here? Let's put on our detective hats and dig into the data. We're going to follow the clues that led to this pretty serious diagnosis.
The first clue we find is a really big one. We're not just talking about a little dip in one hormone here. The report describes a severe, and I mean severe, collapse of his entire hormonal signaling system. It's like his body's main command center is flashing red alerts, showing signs of critical failure. And what's just wild here is the speed of this collapse. Just look at this chart. In only 5 months, his testosterone absolutely tanks from a healthy 678 all the way down to a critically low 149. According to this report, this is the #1 reason he has zero energy and just feels terrible.
Okay, this next clue, it's a lot sneakier and frankly a lot more dangerous. His coronary calcium score, which is a pretty common way to check for heart disease risk, came back as a perfect 0. Now, normally that's fantastic news, but in this case, that number is dangerously misleading. And this slide right here is the key to understanding why. See, the standard calcium test only picks up the old, hardened, calcified plaque, but he has the other kind, the non-calcified stuff. And as you can see, that plaque is soft, it's active, it's inflamed, which makes it way more unstable and much more likely to cause a major cardiac event. It's a ticking time bomb. All right, so let's move on and see how all these puzzle pieces fit together to paint the bigger picture. These clues are exactly what led to that D+ grade.
So here's the real kicker. It's not just one thing. It's a total domino effect. You've got the cardiovascular risk, which is tied to the hormonal collapse. That's made worse by systemic inflammation, which is being fueled by both his diet and his chronic stress. See? Every single problem is just pouring gasoline on the others. Okay, so we've laid out the problems, and it's a pretty grim picture. So, what's the plan? Let's get into the rescue mission and look at the pretty advanced arsenal of therapies they designed to fix all this damage from the inside out. First up is a peptide therapy called tesamorelin. Now, the slide calls it a GHRH analog. Let's break that down. GHRH is your body's natural signal to make growth hormone. An analog is just a version that mimics it. So, long story short, this therapy is basically a powerful wake-up call to his brain's control center, telling it to start making its own growth hormone again and kickstart the whole repair process. Then you've got some really next-level options like EBU. The report calls it dialysis for your blood, but you can just think of it as a complete oil change for your body. It actually filters your blood outside the body to pull out all those inflammatory particles. It's like hitting a giant reset button on your internal system. And it's not just about these big, high-tech interventions. I mean, look at the precision here. This isn't some generic multivitamin. This is his custom-formulated blend. Every single ingredient is in there for a very specific reason, at a very specific dose. From 600 milligrams of ashwagandha to lower his stress hormone cortisol, to 400 milligrams of tonkat ali to directly help out his testosterone. But look, all the high-tech peptides and fancy IVs in the world aren't a magic bullet. None of it works in a vacuum. It all has to be built on a foundation of serious personal commitment and some pretty profound lifestyle changes. So, the diet overhaul is drastic, and I mean drastic. Based on his food sensitivity tests, eggs are a total non-negotiable. They're a huge hidden source of information for him. And for 60 days, all the other usual suspects, gluten, dairy, sugar, processed foods, alcohol, they all have to be completely eliminated. Gone. So what does he eat instead? Well, his diet gets totally rebuilt around whole, unprocessed foods, things that are going to calm his immune system down and give his body the building blocks it needs to heal. We're talking quality proteins, healthy fats, and just a huge variety of vegetables. And to deal with that chronic stress, the plan prescribes something really simple but incredibly powerful: Box breathing. By just controlling your breath in this simple 4-second rhythm, you're directly tapping into your nervous system and telling it to shift out of that constant fight or flight stress mode and into a calm, rest and digest state. And finally, sleep. It's treated as absolutely non-negotiable for recovery. The protocol lays out these super strict rules to create the perfect environment for hormonal repair. The room has to be cool, it has to be pitch black, and a consistent 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. sleep window has to be kept. No exceptions, not even on weekends. So this all brings us to the crossroads of this whole journey. All of these interventions, from the super high-tech to the foundational, they're all packaged into different tiers of investment and commitment. The plan is broken down into 3 tiers. Tier 1, the foundation plan, starts at about $2,400. From there, you jump to Tier 2, which adds in those advanced peptides, and the price more than doubles. And for the optimal plan, the whole shebang with that EBO blood purification, well, that comes in at almost $7,000. It is a significant investment, no matter how you slice it. The report ends with this ancient quote from Virgil: "The greatest wealth is health." You know, it's a timeless idea that we all agree with, but seeing it right next to a price tag of nearly $7,000, it really forces you to think about what we're willing and what we're able to invest to achieve it. And that really brings us to our final, big picture question. This deep dive into one person's health gives us this fascinating glimpse into a future where medicine is incredibly personalized, data-driven, and just unbelievably powerful. But as this kind of technology becomes more and more common, its accessibility remains a huge, critical, and unanswered question for all of us.